Hello everyone, my name is Ella. Welcome to another Wandavision episode discussion. As always, spoilers will be discussed in this video, so if you have not seen episode 6, the all-new Halloween spooktacular episode of Wandavision, pause this video, go watch that, and then come back to this video. Now, I am aware that my videos discussing WandaVision have all been like upwards of 30 minutes so far, and I feel like that is deterring people from watching them, so I am putting a 15-minute timer on right now so that I am not rambling for 30 minutes about stuff that probably makes me sound really kind of stupid. So this week was the Halloween episode, which I was looking forward to personally because I like Halloween, but also because I felt like we were going to get some big answers in this episode just because of the whole discussion that I knew would take place with Agnes. So right out of the gate, I noticed something about the intro, the theme song for WandaVision this episode. Once again, they are using the same kind of musical motif as the WandaVision, WandaVision, but it's with the like musical intro for the song. So I noticed that. And then there were also a set of lyrics that particularly stood out to me. I mean, the whole song this episode was very self-aware, but one line in particular was, "If it's all an illusion, enjoy the show." And I feel like that line particularly is just kind of like, you know, there's not really any hiding this anymore. This is not actual reality, and I think we really get a lot of hints towards just how out of control this fake reality has gotten throughout the episode, but I'll mention that a little bit later. I don't really have anything smart to say about Wanda saying that her outfit is the Sokovian fortune teller. I just thought it was cute, so I wanted to throw that out there. Something I did want to talk a little bit about was the fact that Pietro, not only in this scene, but this whole entire episode, just kind of seems to know that something is up. And I do have a theory about that I will mention a little bit later. But I think Pietro just kind of knows that something is not right with this. He knows that this is a fake reality. He mentions it several times throughout the episode. Right now, he kind of hints towards this being a thing based around trauma, kind of as a one-off joke where he's talking about their childhood, and he mentions that Wanda probably doesn't remember it because she probably surpassed the trauma. So I'm like, okay, he kind of knows something is, going on with this whole thing. And then later he mentions, like, how did she hide the kids and how did she keep all of these people in this illusion? So I feel like something is up with him. I'll just go ahead and say my theory right now. Monica Rambeau mentioned having a inside person in the illusion. I personally think that it is Pietro. I think that's why Pietro is different in he's the X-Men Pietro and not the MCU Pietro. And I also think that it would make sense because she's the one that brought Pietro up in the first place back in episode 4. So I'm wondering if that wasn't kind of like a lead-in so that Pietro could be introduced, and now Pietro is here and now he's kind of like an insider with all the information for Monica and the rest of the team trying to figure things out without hurting Wanda. As expected, there is a definite tension between Wanda and Vision that carried over from the last episode and that obviously was just kind of highlighted in this episode. I thought the line where Vision was be good was one that particularly stood out to me because I feel like that was just kind of him reminding her that he knows that this isn't everything that she's making it out to be, and it was just kind of you know what you're doing, don't be bad, that kind of thing. So I thought that line in particular was really interesting. Jumping to the MCU Reality, the whole conversation with Hayward was just kind of it threw me for a loop. This whole episode, I don't know if I was just out of it or tired or what, but this whole episode just didn't I didn't quite get what was happening, and I feel like that shouldn't be happening this late in the show. Like, things should be starting to wrap up, and they are. Like, I'm not going to say that they're not wrapping up, but there was too much about this episode that just like felt like they were introducing way too many more questions, and we shouldn't be at that point when there's only 3 episodes left in the show. But I guess we'll eventually get answers, either in this show or Doctor Strange or Spider-Man or whatever. Darcy mentions a little bit later that Hayward isn't tracking Wanda, but that he's tracking Vision, and how she thinks that's weird. And I personally think that he is tracking Vision because he is ready to use Vision as a weapon, kind of like how they discussed in the previous episodes where Vision didn't want to be used by anybody as a weapon even after his death. So I feel like that's why Hayward is specifically tracking Vision and also the people that are around Vision. That way he can see what kind of casualties he's going to have if he decides to set off Vision in some way. Also, to go along with the whole idea of the illusion of Westview breaking, we're seeing a lot of characters kind of like, I don't want to say break out because they are still kind of like playing a role in WandaVision, the show. Because like Herb, he's like, you know, do you want me to do something else for you? Do you want something else to happen? So that obviously is him kind of being aware that this isn't entirely a real reality. And also, I just feel like throughout the whole entire episode, Wanda was just kind of like feeling frustrated that she can't control her husband and what he's doing anymore, and she can't control her kids and what they're doing, and she can't control Pietro because he's new and he is also aware that this is a fake reality. So I think that really plays into the idea that Wanda is very much losing control of this whole illusion that she has created, which also I think would tie into the whole idea that this is kind of starting to be based off of the House of M comic run with Wanda in it. And I think that's also kind of really highlighted with what happens at the end of the episode as well, which we'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, throughout this whole entire episode, I think there was just too much going wrong and too much that just wasn't settling quite right with Wanda. And I think that she's actually starting to realize herself too that she's not as in control of this whole illusion as she thought she was. She even mentions to Pietro that she doesn't even know how she started this whole thing. So I feel like it's really getting out of hand for her. And based on some of what we've seen of like footage after this, I do think they're going to end up sitting down with her and being like, hey, you know, what is this? What's going on? You know, what's happening? Why did you decide to kidnap a whole entire town? So I think it'll be interesting to see if she does have some kind of explanation for that, or if she's still just kind of like has no idea what she's been able to do with her whole entire like strength of her powers. Now, I have not had any issues with any of the commercials and like understanding what they mean at all in any of the episodes until this episode. This commercial in this episode for the Yo Magic threw me for a loop. First of all, I like forgot that it was like an actual like in-show commercial. I thought it was like a real like actual commercial. So that was kind of like, whoa, I forgot. But I guess I understand. Like, I get that they're like the magic for or the snack for survivors or whatever. Like, I get that aspect of it. But like, I don't understand how like the animation and everything correlates to what they're trying to say. Like, are they saying that, like, is it some kind of like tongue-in-cheek kind of thing about the survivors of the snap? Is it, you know, I legitimately have no clue what they were trying to go for with this commercial. Like, I have no idea. So if you have a better grasp of what you think the Yo Magic commercial was really supposed to be about, please leave a comment because I am absolutely at a loss this time. Something that Wanda mentions in this episode is that she doesn't want the kids to go past Ellis Avenue, which hasn't been discussed at all in any previous episodes before. But I did, like, I was waiting to see, cause when she mentioned it, if we were going to, like, actually see Ellis Avenue, and we did actually see it in a shot when Vision goes to check on Agnes in her car. She is stopped at Ellis Avenue, which is the, like, very edge of the barrier. It's right before you get to the barrier that leads outside of Westview and into reality. So my theory about that, I guess, I don't know that it's really a theory so much as what I'm, like, noticing. I feel like Wanda doesn't have as much control towards the outer edge of the barrier, and that's why she doesn't want her kids to go there. That's why everything is kind of, like, stopped and people are, like, not moving when they get close enough to Ellis Avenue, because she just doesn't have the control over them. So they're kind of, like, stuck in a limbo between what control she does have over them and, like, their own consciousness and stuff like that. I think that's also why we see Vision be able to get as far out of the barrier as he does, because Wanda can't necessarily feel him when he's that far out, so she can't realize until the kids mention it that something is going on with Vision. And also, the whole scene with Agnes was just weird. I've said it before, I will say it again, something is up with Agnes. I don't know what it is. She could be completely innocent in this, and we've all just read way too much into things, but I feel like she could also be playing innocent. Like, I don't know, like, she acted too weird, like, after the whole, like, telling Vision that he was dead, and she just started, like, laughing maniacally and everything like that. Like, something felt off about that, and I'm really hoping that we get an explanation soon, because we only have 3 more episodes left, and most of the last episode is going to be resolution. In theory, if we follow a general series timeline, it should be wrapped up pretty nicely sometime during the last episode, so that we can kind of get that nice resolution. But since it's the MCU and since it does tie into other movies, who knows what we're actually gonna get. But yeah, something's up with Agnes. I don't know what it is, but there is. The timer went off so really quickly here. I just wanted to talk about the end of the episode. Just a few of the little, like, one-liners that kind of were, like, if you weren't entirely paying attention, you kind of missed it. I think it's really important that Darcy pointed out that Monica's, like, DNA is changing from being in Westview. I'm wondering if that's not tied to the idea that there is radiation around Westview. If you'll recall, in episode 4, I believe, Darcy said that there was a bunch of radiation that they didn't know how it was going to affect the people in Westview. So I'm wondering if the whole DNA thing might not be a side effect of that radiation that she mentioned. And then after that, we kind of see Wanda snap. She finds out that Vision is at the barrier, and then she's also got Pietro trying to say, crack jokes and make light of what's happening, and she doesn't like that, and she's worried about her kids, and she kind of snaps rather gloriously, and I don't know if I mean that in, like, a nice way or, like, a yikes way, but she ends up pushing the barrier out, which is something that I expected might happen. And to tie in what I was talking about earlier with House of M, I'm wondering if this is not what she wanted, because in House of M, she says that she wants no more mutants in a certain context, and it gets rid of, like, all mutants, which is not what she wanted. So I'm wondering if she didn't mean to only encompass Vision back into the barrier of Westview, and instead couldn't stop, and so now she's pushing it out who knows how far. I personally don't really have any theories about where exactly this is going to go, or how much more this is going to tie in with House of M or the mutants or anything like that, but my brother does think that the inhabitants of Westview are going to be the mutants for the MCU. So that is something to chew on while you're waiting for the next episode. If you have any theories that you want to talk about for where you think they're going to go with Wanda, what you think is going to happen with this barrier expanding, what you think about Pietro being back in the picture, anything like that, drop a comment. If there's something that I missed that you think I should look at again, also drop a comment. Thank you all so much for watching. I will be back next Friday with a WandaVision episode 7 discussion, and then I will be back on Wednesday for a regular video talking about having to call the cops on my neighbors. So both of those are something that you can look forward to. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video, click notifications if you would like to get notified when I post a new video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye!